background, right? That one at the background, because it's not really working. So we're going to scrap that from tonight until I am able to fix why it is not playing well. So good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are joining us. This is Mayegun Live. And thank you so much for joining me. If you have read the caption of this broadcast, the description as well, please. The next to do is to like it, share it, invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, and tell them that Mayegun today. I know. So I want to say a big thank you once again to everyone who is joining us this evening. So let's start. This afternoon, Asari, in fact, it was actually last night that I had that interview, but it didn't make it to the media until this morning and then afternoon, where Asari came out to clear the air on why he's been ranting, why he decided to attack the Yorubas for whatever deal he had with Tinubu. At some point, he kind of swallowed his accusation. He swallowed that by saying that he will still stand by Tinubu, even if Tinubu run into any trouble in his illegitimate government in Nigeria. But the reason why he is mad is because when the wicked want to remove Fubara, and they have been getting the different court judgments that will continue to destabilize the river states under Fubara, and that with the weakest people have been bragging that they will remove Fubara and nothing will happen. And according to him, something will happen. So we are going to start from that one, but the highlights of tonight's chat is going to be interesting though, right? We have another meeting being promoted or being hyped on social media. And this is the meeting between Aliko Dangote, Wale Idun, and Tinubu, of course. Remember that we were saddled with like endless videos of the meetings between the same trio, Tinubu, Aliko, and Wale Idun, where they were talking about the crude oil for naira agreement. And it was supposed to start from the 1st of October this month. I happen to be one of those who told you that they are just deceiving themselves and deceiving you too. I just don't understand how a supposed quota system billionaire, Aliko Dangote, could be playing around or playing along with all these shenanigans. Dangote was supposed to enjoy some home privilege after completing 45 to 50% of his own refinery. He was promised crude oil by Bukwari's government. And the campaign back then was that the moment Dangote refinery starts working, the Nigerian government will stop importing and the Nigerian naira will become stronger. But it's been over 18 months or nearly 18 months that Tinubu's regime, they've come on board, and it's been over a year as well that the Dangote refinery seems to have gotten to 50% completion, which according to them is more than enough to cater for Nigeria's domestic need, petroleum need, which would have ordinarily saved Nigeria the huge amount of subsidy being paid to some minute few, the corruption of subsidy. let me kind of break it down for you to understand this better before we get to another meeting they had today. Okay. So APC, Egbekegbe, told Nigerians that Nigerian refineries are not working. After Bokwari borrowed $2 billion to fix the refineries, still, none of them is able to refine a teaspoonful of crude oil to this day. Rather, they continue to import and pay subsidy. So when Tinubu came in and said subsidy was gone, to some people, it was a bold decision. But I came here to say it was a lie and still a lie. What Tinubu did was to replace the beneficiary, those who were collecting the subsidy back then, under Bokwari, to his own guys, which later came to light of their own mixing or whatever, blending refinery in Malta, which also record shows that Nigeria has imported over $2.5 billion worth of petroleum product from Malta, from a company that is also linked to the same Tinubu. So kind of confirm what I have said myself, that it didn't stop subsidy. They only changed the beneficiary, the people they are paying it to. Today, they're now paying it to Ohando. And rather than call it a subsidy, fuel subsidy, they now call it a dollar subsidy, which is that they pay them in dollars, okay, for bringing fuel to Nigeria. It is such a black, dirty deal that is so dark, put it that way, dark, dirty deal that Tinubu initiated. And there's no way this was never going to work against the Dangote, obviously. Also, even though they told you then that since Nigeria is producing crude oil, Dangote will never lack crude oil for its refinery. What they didn't tell you then was that Bokwari and his gang, they have already mortgaged whatever their own share from the oil exploration in Nigeria with a stipend loan that they took 4 years ago. Now, that loan means that the share of Nigeria from the crude oil exploration in Nigeria will be going straight to this lender and not Dangote. So when Dangote's refinery was partially ready, there was no crude oil, right? So Dangote had to kind of start importing crude oil from countries like America, from Texas in America, Brazil, and I started talking about making some deals with other oil-producing countries in Africa, but there was none. How could a refinery in Lagos find it difficult to get crude oil from Niger Delta? What happened? Because the share of Nigeria from that crude oil has been mortgaged. They've collected the money. They've spent it. And these people, until they get the equivalent of money they gave to Bokwari, Dangote will not have access to any crude oil. But the fraud continued. The lies continued. So they came out to say that Dangote refinery is not ready. Dangote refinery's product is not pure. And this was kind of like a state coordinated attack on him. So Tinubu waded in. Remember, that was the meeting they had sometimes in August. Then in September, the Tinubu's gang, they organized another show-off ceremony where they said Dangote refinery will begin to lift, tankers will begin to lift petroleum product from Dangote refinery, all bought by NNPCL. Another scam, by the way, but this is the backstory. So Dangote said they won't be selling directly to marketers. Rather, it will sell to NNPCL because they are the only ones who can buy at the price that Dangote will sell. So last, it became obvious that because Dangote imported this crude oil, the amount he's selling his own per liter of petroleum is even more than the landing cost of the imported fuel. A dilemma again. So Dangote, what would you need to be able to sell your own products at least a little bit cheaper? Give me access to crude oil. Give me crude oil that I was promised when I was building this refinery. I was told that I will have access to crude oil. I will be given 600,000 barrels of crude oil every day. But there is no 600,000 barrels of crude oil anywhere for Dangote. But to continue the scheme, Dangote and these guys, they met with Tinubu. They said Tinubu waded in, okay? And he ordered from October 1st, you, NMPCL, you must give Dangote the crude oil he needs to refine. Lies. I said that here. Okay. October came. I was expecting them to start, no story, just start showing the crude oil they are giving to Dangote. And we said it here as well that instead of forcing people to buy a liter of petroleum for 1,200 naira because of the whole corruption surrounding this importation of petroleum product to Nigeria, how about you kind of discount the crude oil you give to Dangote? If the promise you made a few years back is anything to go by, APC, but because it was all lies, cover up, and so on, and Dangote himself will not be so clean and honest with any of you. So what did they do? They started another story, which up till now, a lot of you probably have not been able to ask them what is really going on. So from the 1st of October, they were supposed to be giving Dangote crude oil. But like I said, there's no crude oil to give to Dangote per se. See, there is a part where they are supposed to be giving Nigeria from the IOCs, right? International oil companies to be giving Nigeria about 300,000 barrels of crude oil, right? For the local refineries. But because it has been mortgaged, okay, there's no crude oil for Dangote, there's no crude oil for anyone. Okay, but they still kind of have a way around where they have been twisting these IOCs to give them some crude oil so that they can use that to pursue their propaganda, make it look legit. That's why I said, I don't know why somebody that invested $20 billion in a refinery will be playing along with these criminal politicians if he is not a criminal himself. Okay, so Dangote was given 2 oil blocks. They told him that if you need crude oil, you would have to kind of pump it out by yourself. And that would require him investing maybe another $4 to $5 billion to be able to actually extract his own crude oil. And all these stories will disappear. But because of what they have shown him so far, he is not interested. He's not willing to invest that amount of money in his own, oil block. So, it's been 29 days now. Sometimes the Tinubu's gang, they will put it on social media and say, oh, Dangote refinery has received 400,000 barrels of crude oil. And then people will ask, okay, what happened to that 400,000 barrels? At least Dangote, if Nigeria gave you 400,000 barrels, normally they were supposed to be giving him 350,000 barrels. Originally, it was supposed to be 680,000 barrels, but because the refinery is only about 50% completed, right? So which means Dangote's refinery can still make do with 300,000 minimum barrels every day. So if they fulfilled that, Dangote will not lack crude oil. And as we speak, they could actually influence how much it sells its products. But because it's so shady, it's so fraudulent, and they continue to import, Dangote had to go to court too. Yeah, he had to go to court to sue NMPCL, some other importers, and sue them to the court should withdraw their licenses, the import licenses. Imagine that. He also sued the agency that issued the licenses to this guy to import a product to Nigeria. So how can you say you have settled this issue? Because Tinubu intervened, right? And then here you are back in court, asking court to stop these guys from importing fuel, and everybody should come and buy from you. So it is so shady that, I mean, you can go on and on and on and on, but you shouldn't, because the moment you know that this is a pure fraud, corruption at play, you won't waste your energy, right? But here is the deal. Dangote is probably in on it. Somehow, he's making his own money, because whatever he's refining is in his refinery. Whatever he is refining, he's selling them to other African countries. Just that the deal he expected Nigeria to fulfill is that you will give me crude oil. I will pay you in naira. And listen, this naira for crude oil deal is also shady. Yeah. Let's assume that they are even able to give him the crude oil. Here is the supposed deal. If a barrel of crude oil is sold for example, $80, so Dangote would have to pay it in naira. You get that now? He would have to pay naira equivalent. Since the Nigerian naira is now like so trashy, okay? So Dangote does not want to deal in naira. To him, it's like, if I'm going to sell my products, I'm not going to sell it in naira. He's supposed to sell to you in naira. Everybody buying there should buy in naira. But you also be paying through your noses due to the exchange rate. And that is why he said, personally said, a liter of petroleum from his own refinery. This is where the confusion can be very confusing, okay? Now you get the crude oil. So let's say the barrel of crude oil is $70 at the international market. The government can just give it to him for maybe $30. By so doing, you have already halved whatever Dangote is going to come around and charge. Now, if the cost of producing refining the crude oil ordinarily at $70 per barrel would be 58 cents or 60 cents, which ordinarily would have been somewhere around somewhere around 900 naira or 850 naira per liter. In that sense, it would have been for the other marketers who are going to buy and sell from him. Maybe they will sell for maybe 900 naira or 1,000 naira at $70 per barrel. So if you have that, that means Dangote can sell his own final product. So he can sell it at least 350 naira to 400 naira. So by that, you can continue to buy for 500, and in some far distance places, you can be buying a liter for 600 naira per liter. And that can reflect on other things like transportation, like other businesses that are running on petrol and fuel like that, right? Generate alternative energy, something like that. So that would have reflected on the entire economy. But because there is no real crude oil to sell to Dangote, and where there is, it is just for the main propaganda that if they give Dangote 400,000 barrels, are they selling it to him at $70 per barrel, $80 per barrel in naira, converted to naira? Okay, so how much of that have they sold in? So it's pretty much like, it is so shady, like I said, that all these questions, they have no answer. But the only answer that you can easily just use here is that Dangote is in on this old scam too. So Tinubu's intervention did not change anything. It is just for the camera, the show off, nothing more. That's the only reliable answer you can get from all of this. If you have 1 million questions to ask about this whole thing, that is the only answer you can get. The whole thing is just for the camera and nothing but for the camera. Because from their own statements that we have on record, Dangote's oil, Dangote's petrol from his own refinery is even more expensive than the imported ones. So the oil marketers themselves have come out to say they can't really make profit by buying from Dangote. So Dangote is believed that, okay, majority of my oil is imported crude oil, which I bought in dollars. With the level of exchange rate, I can't sell less, except Nigeria will pay me subsidy, and they can then go and sell it at whatever price they want to. So Dangote again was at the villa the As Rock Villa today, like it was in August, in September, in October, this month, is back again. And his own, what do you call his own presser was that if people are suffering from scarcity in Nigeria today, it is because the marketers, the oil marketers in Nigeria, they were not buying from him. Remember, he told us a few weeks back that he was not ready to sell to the marketers. He can only sell to the NNPCL. NNPCL came out and said, oh yeah, marketers should go and buy directly from Dangote. After that, the marketers themselves came out and said, we have already given over 20 billion naira of our money to the NNPCL, waiting for them to supply us the products that we paid for. Now, they are not supplying us the product. They are telling us to go and find another money and buy from Dangote. And with the price Dangote is offering us, we cannot. It's not profitable for us. So they are pushing Nigerians here, pushing them back and forth. No one is really willing to give you the real answer. But the importation of petroleum to Nigeria continues. I'm talking about at the highest level. So today, as part of their supposed lies, that nothing is going to really come out of, right? First, there is another announcement of increase in price of petroleum in Nigeria, even though the increase is just about 21 naira, 20 naira. But in reality, they said that NNPCL is selling its own liter of petroleum at 995 naira per liter. But if you go out there, you have to pay up to 1,100, 1,200 naira per liter. That is because all of you can see or buy from the NNPCL, right? The demand for petroleum products in Nigeria has reduced by over 50%. Because a lot of people that can no longer afford, businesses that can no longer afford this expensive fuel, some of them have folded up, others have abandoned their cars. Now they've increased it again. Now, if NNPC says their own is no longer 950 naira anymore, it is now 1,025 naira in Lagos. Outside Lagos, like Abuja, it is now 1,070 naira from NNPC. So we have no idea what other independent marketers will sell their own, but you probably should have an idea, even though a lot of you don't even buy it anymore. You've already kind of abandoned the filling stations and all that. So Dangote, who met with Tinubu's regime that has been campaigning for CNG. Remember that they have been campaigning for CNG, this CNG, that. Go and convert your car to CNG. Go and convert your generator to CNG. They met with Dangote. Though, I think I'll show you this one first. Then I'll show you what Dangote himself had to say. All of this, they are just to further keep all of you in the state of confusion. Total confusion. There will never be any cheap fuel in Nigeria. I think that is clear now. Abi?
Please. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think it is very, very important because today we are going to be seeing some crude oil and refined products for local consumption. As one of these very important, the NNPC chiefs, our local ministers, from the Minister of Finance and the Minister of the Economy, and also the Minister of